You're listening to the Vacation Rental Managers Podcast with Sarah and T.
Sarah stands for me, Sarah Bradford, a 15-year vacation rental company owner in Colorado who sold the company for big bucks last year.
And T stands for me, Tim Cafferty, who's still moving and shaking with two companies, Outer Banks Blue and Sandbridge Blue, in North Carolina and Virginia, respectively.
Between us, we have managed over 700 properties, making lasting memories for over 100,000 guests, and produced over 150 podcast episodes and counting, sharing all of our secrets to growing a profitable, long-lasting vacation rental company.
We like to call those secrets pullover moments, and it wouldn't be possible without support from our pullover partners, ICND, Key Data, and Sojo.
I'm back from BRWS and DARM and better than ever. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tim. I haven't gone anywhere. Actually, I did travel a little bit and I missed the DARM and the Women's Conference, but we are here. Merry Christmas, everybody. Our present to you is dropping an episode on Christmas morning.
Yeah, we're going to be dropping all sorts of takeaways from both conferences. Because if you opened your presents real quickly, there's nothing else to do. Maybe you're listening to us on Christmas Day. Who knows?
You need help if that's the case, but that's another story altogether. But speaking of help, you got a lot of help on this episode, Sarah. We cut you loose with a microphone and a recorder. And boy, did you get busy in Nashville.
Yeah, you should have seen me. I also was trying to record video while the people were talking. So I was holding two things and trying to shove it in the person's face so we could hear them and see them. And then sometimes I forgot the video. So just don't get upset when you see the YouTube. It's going to be really good. There's a lot of great video of all these folks that are going to speak today.
Fantastic. Just keep that in your mind's eye as you listen to some of these with Sarah doing a pretzel routine in her hands and everything. And so you can hear some of that actually in some of the audio we have. So we have a number of people queued up here to give their takeaways from the conference. How was it, Sarah?
It was so much fun. I didn't think much about how it was going to be till I showed up, typical Sarah fashion. I did a couple sessions, including a panel or two, and that went great. I saw all my old buddies. I saw a lot of new faces. I would say the highlight, though, were the keynotes. Incredible keynotes at these two conferences. Amy Hinote and her team, they know how to get the good speakers. Verma, I always say, listen up, because she has you beat by a mile. Not that it's a competition, but I'd say the best, well, you're going to hear about the different keynote speakers because that was a lot of the takeaways from attendees. But I would vote Will Guidera of Unreasonable Hospitality was the number one. We were all like jaw to the ground, couldn't write down notes faster. I was recording him. He just had so many nuggets. And do you know what was interesting, Tim? He didn't have one slide, not one. He captivated the audience without any glitter and glam. He just stood up and told us what we needed to hear about being, well, if you read the book, Unreasonable Hospitality, you'll understand what we meant. So great conference. Congratulations to Amy and her crew. Amazing food, all the things that the women's conference has been for the past, I think there's been 3 now. And then it went right into DARM. It was so funny. Everybody came out of the final session of the women's conference into a lobby where all the DARM attendees had come for the reception. So it was like the men met the women and There was a lot of energy there. And yeah, it was just a really neat format how she did it. I thought it was a great success and Nashville is a blast. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And so we're going to play these cuts that we have from the conference, and I may dip in every now and then with an observation. So let's get to it.
And here we have, you're not a woman.
I know, right? What am I doing here?
I found a man. I found the man, Steve Trover, who this morning, Steve, I went to the mentorship session and all I could think of the whole time in there was that you were my mentor. So Steve, what are you seeing here at the conference? Tell us about it from your perspective.
You know, as a man and a sea of women, it's just an honor to actually be at this show. And I really enjoy it. I very much enjoyed the last one. So I was super excited to be here. And I think more men should come and be a part of it and see just how great it is for women to gather together like they are. So, yeah, but I've enjoyed it. The opening keynote was amazing.
Who was it?
That was a woman named Amber Hurdle, quite a powerful woman herself. And so she had a really great message for the women here.
What was one thing she said that you were like, oh, that's a good one?
Well, she quoted me, so I remember that. So
I noticed that. Okay,
yeah.
besides all about you, what did she say?
Just the whole thing about empowerment and really, are you at where you should be? In the sense that so many of us, whether you're a woman or a man, don't work to be at the highest and best that we should be, the best person that we possibly can be in every aspects of our life. And so she was really just pushing us to think like that. And so I really appreciated the message.
I like that she kept saying, do it afraid.
Right.
Like, just do it afraid.
Go.
Even if you don't know, just do it afraid. I've never heard that saying.
Yeah. No, and that's a really strong message. And so many of us, and I certainly have fallen into this category in life, will be afraid of something or not want to move forward, and we'll sit where we're at. And there's not enough time left on this planet for you to be on this planet to think like that. So you need to wake up every day and just go for it afraid. So
awesome. Thanks, White Hat Steve. All right. And over here, we have Heidi Hendrickson, and she's from California Design Den, which I've heard of, but I just got to meet for the first time. What are you seeing so far? And I was attracted to your table over here because it says luxury bedding for 5-star comfort. And if anybody knows me, they know that I love the topic of bedding. So tell the listener why this matters.
It's all about elevating the guest experience. So if you can provide a better sleep experience through fantastic bedding, then that's going to be one more notch towards that 5-star. I'm staying in a vacation rental here, and I have microfiber sheets, and I'm not very excited about it because once you use 100% cotton, you kind of convert and never want to go back.
Okay. And Heidi and I were just talking about how triple sheeting sort of blows. I'm going to just say it. Definitely in vacation rentals, because we're just in there too long and without daily maid service, but even in a hotel. You agree with me?
Absolutely. I mean, we're here to embrace if somebody wants to go triple sheeting, of course. But in my own rentals, I've always gone with a duvet cover, make sure that cover is always laundered in between every guest. But that, again, elevates that guest experience with a little bit nicer touch of luxury, I think.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a thick cover. It's just a sheet type quality that's like when you go to a really nice hotel.
Exactly. Our duvet covers are the same as the sheets we recommend. 4 and thread count, easy to take off. They have the little corner tabs that hold everything in place so that when you do a quick shake, it doesn't get all torn apart. So,
yeah. So you can do it, guys. Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So this is going to be my intro from here forward. And I have a couple of observations on that first comment there, Sarah. First of all, I can relate to Steve because I have been to the women's conferences, all of them except this one. And being a man at the women's conference, you do have a feeling like, should I be here? Did they realize that I was registered? It's pretty female centric.
Yeah, I think it's ballsy to go. Honestly, I would not go to a man's conference. That'd be like walking in on the cigar country club room after golf. So well done on anyone that showed up.
Okay, second one, Amber Hurdle. The Velvet Machete has been a guest on our podcast, episode 112. If you want to go back a couple of years and listen to that, she is fantastic. I'm glad she was at the conference, and obviously some great takeaways. We're going to hear more about that as we go along. But before we go any further, I want to go back to the last comments there about the triple sheeting. I thought you were a proponent of that, Sarah.
No, I've never been a fan of triple sheeting. Let me explain. Triple sheeting is what they do at the Hilton. Okay, that's when they have the fitted sheet, then they have a loose sheet, then they put the comforter down, then they put another sheet on top and they tuck it. There's no containment of the duvet. So if you stay there one night or 5 nights at a hotel, but they redo it every day. In a vacation rental, since you're not having daily maid service, it comes completely apart and the duvet is all over you and it's gross because there's no sheet on it. So I'm a proponent of a duvet inside a duvet cover, which is made of 2 sheets sewn together without a zipper so it won't break. Works 1,000,000,000% better. Thank you.
Good clarification there. And you have to learn that the hard way. because those sheets do come off right away. We got so many complaints from guests who are like, the sheets keep coming off the bed. So
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We haven't talked about that since you implemented. It is kind of scary because if somebody committed to all triple sheeting, which I know you haven't done yet, you buy all those sheets and then you realize, oh, this doesn't work. But at least you could just keep the duvets and then switch to the inserts.
good point. Okay, back to the conference.
Okay, now I'm here with Brandy Broyles from Iconic Vacation Rentals in,
Park City, Utah.
oh, right over the hill from me.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Brandy, what do you do there?
So I am the owner of the company.
Oh, and how many properties?
20 properties,
Nice. Big homes.
some really big homes. Yeah, we have a 17,000 square foot mansion. If anyone wants to do a business retreat,
Holy cow. Does it have an indoor pickleball court?
it actually does.
What?
Yes.
It has an indoor pickleball
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm coming. All right, back to the basic.
Okay.
What is one or even more takeaways than you've gotten from the Women's Summit so far?
Okay. So one of the key takeaways that I got was from Cheryl Stray, the author of Wild. She said to trust your clarity. And what she meant by that was when she decided to make this crazy journey into the wilderness to walk alone as a woman, from Mexico to Canada, it seemed like a crazy idea. But she knew within herself that she would be okay. And I think when we go on to these big business ventures, we need to do that, to trust our clarity, and it's more than just our instincts. It's clear to us that this will work out.
And she also, I love that so much.
Mhm.
She said that when she also had a lot of fear, she was taught to never walk by herself. And she chose her clarity over fear. So you have to stick with your clarity, even when you go on those great, crazy business decisions, that you knew that was the right thing to do. So when the fear creeps in, stick with the clarity over fear.
Yep. And you can live with your fear, I think she said.
She said, do it afraid.
Do it afraid.
I love that. Thank you so much, Brandy. Who do we have here?
Tyler Petroncelli with Wine Country Estate Management, Sonoma.
And I just met Tyler.
Yes, we got to have a great conversation. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. What's one key takeaway that you're going to take home to California as you sip your wine?
Meeting you and all the great advice you gave us.
Okay.
Our
Besides
young
that,
company.
give me something. Like, what's one thing you learned in a session that you're like, oh, yeah, we got to do that?
A lot of really great information about marketing, lifestyle, photos in our listings, and kind of a different approach to really targeting guests.
Okay. Give us an example of that. What do you mean lifestyle photos?
In one of the sessions, they were showing us pictures of people at a vineyard sipping wine. Instead of just having photos of the properties, having experiences so people can see themselves envisioning sitting there, doing the activities, sitting by the fire pit, playing bocce, playing pickleball, doing things like that, and adding those type of photos into our listings to really create more of an experience and try and get people to book with us, I think.
I love that because it's not real estate photos, it's vacation rental photos. And I can't stand it when a listing goes to the half bath toilet before they show me the pool.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Great one.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
See ya. We found somebody we all know and love, Michelle Marquis from The Marquis Effect. Michelle, what was something you take home with you and put in your heart from this conference?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The session today where they were talking about all the historical things women have done, I was blown away at how recent it was. And honestly, that we haven't come very far. And so it makes me want to even more kind of educate and inspire young other women to do things and kind of step out of the box a little bit and be daring and be bossy. And that's probably my biggest takeaway is I really hope that the women that are here take away the courage to dig deeper and to just figure it out and use their voice and not be afraid to do that because they're the minority. And it's going to take this next generation to bring us further because we haven't come very far. So that's probably my biggest takeaway.
And to clarify something you said at first, you were surprised how recent it's been. And what you mean is how recent it's been that we were just allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Or that we were allowed to own property.
Yeah.
And you forget that like my grandma was born and not able to vote. Just my grandma. It was so interesting that all the characters she talked about from the earlier 1900s and the 1930s and 40s all seem like rock star women today that make a lot of noise, pits off the men. Same spirit, same person, just in a different time.
Yeah, she used words. She didn't say abrasive, but she used a word like aggressive, or she used like negative words that you would say about a woman today. And imagine back then just how bad it was.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, over here with the red velvet chairs, I found Natasha Garber. She's an independent consultant in marketing in the vacation rental industry. Natasha, what did you get out of the conference?
I think that one of the most incredible things about this conference was discovering how women can leverage the vacation rental industry to completely overcome incredible odds and barriers in their lives. The vacation rental industry has given so many of these women a path forward from those experiences. And it's also a great equalizer, I think, for women to be able to achieve success as entrepreneurs on a scale with men that has been previously just inaccessible to them. And that's been absolutely amazing for me to discover here.
Boom. Thank you, Natasha. Michelle has one more takeaway, but it's really her own, and she heard it repeated recently in a session. What is it?
It is that anything that is expensive, complicated, or important will require more phone calls for a booking.
All right, I just walked into a session that just finished because I wanted to get some more suckers for the podcast. And I found Hillary Gibson from Breakers End and Oregon Coast Hosts. And she has a takeaway for us.
Hi, my takeaway is that I have 3 properties in 3 states, and I need to have more consistency with my branding. So I've always thought of marketing them separately because they're so far and there's very little overlap in the market. But I'm learning all about branding and selling myself as the common denominator with those properties.
Okay, and what's one way you'll do that?
I'm going to update my logos so that they all have like the same similar font, similar vibe, and have them under one landing page.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So who are you?
I'm Heather Bayer, the host of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast.
Oh, I've heard of you.
I've heard of you too.
What's your key takeaway from this beautiful conference?
It's such a great conference. And the biggest takeaway I have every time I come to this conference is story sharing. You don't hear stories at other conferences. You know, people are out there, they're being vulnerable, they're being open and transparent, and they're telling their true stories, not just of the operational aspects of working this business, but of the emotional take of the business. And I think this is really missing. And you got to come to this conference to hear those stories.
All right. I've just walked right up to Ashley Cheng, who presented in this session, because she's fresh off that high of being in front of everyone and everyone's raving about it. So Ashley's from Inhaven, a professional procurement company for the vacation rental industry, and also working on standards for the vacation rental industry in properties. Ashley, what was the key takeaway from your presentation?
So my key takeaway is that we have a big problem in the vacation rental industry when Airbnb is considered the brand. Airbnb is a distribution channel for all these homes. And so I do truly believe that for the vacation rental industry to scale and to continue to grow, we need to set national brand standards so that the guest has confidence when they're booking Stay Lake Norman vacation rentals or vacation rentals of Key West. They know that when they walk into that vacation rental, they're going to get a great night's sleep, a fully stocked kitchen, a fully stocked bathroom. So I believe this is critical, that we need to set standards for those basic foundational items.
If you had to name your top 3 standards you would wish everyone would adopt, what would it be?
A very comfortable bed, think the Westin Heavenly bed, a fully stocked kitchen, and a fully stocked bathroom where I don't have to worry about bringing in a hair dryer or shampoo to get ready for the next morning.
What do you consider a fully stocked kitchen?
A fully stocked kitchen would include enough of the essentials to make a basic meal. So we're looking at a basic cookware set, a blender, a coffee maker, and just basic utensils. So there's not that much, but it's really important for that guest stay.
And I can't help but ask you this. I don't know if you listen to the podcast or not, but we have an ongoing debate about whether you leave spices in the home or not. Your thoughts?
I actually don't think they're critical. I think that basic spices. So I think the salts and peppers are critical. I don't expect to show up at a home with cumin.
Is it okay to have the pepper already opened, or do you want it sealed and brand new?
I think it's okay to have a pepper maker already opened.
I'm high-fiving her, Tim. I'm high-fiving her. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
I've just found a male species.
In the flesh.
We have Connor
Hall.
from Liquid.
Life.
And what's one thing you're going to take away from this conference, you brave soul?
More intentional conversations like this with the women in our office as a whole. I'm very new to the industry, unless you count my internship 12 years ago, checking condos. So the data and information has been great, but overall just culture impacts.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming.
Happy to be here.
I just found another Sarah, and not only is she a Sarah, but she's a Sarah Burr, Sarah Brummagem. And I'm Sarah Bradford, in case you don't know. And so we're both Sarah Burrs. And she's from Liquid Life in Orange Beach. And she is learning a ton at the women's conference. You're loving it, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
She came to my session, but Sarah has a few things to share with us. She's just going to open her notebook and tell us something she learned at the conference.
I have learned so much, and this whole conference has been super helpful as I'm a young professional coming into this career field. It's been amazing just being around so many women that, even though it's not direct mentorship, it feels like in the sessions, it's this mentorship of women that have gone through so much in this field, in their careers and in the workplace, that are sharing all these insights about how to present yourself and stay strong and use your femininity in the workplace for empowerment and to play it to your strengths. And it's just been really encouraging. And I'm excited to bring it back into the office and into this leadership position.
Nailed it.
I'm back. Okay, let's unpack a little bit. That was a lot of stuff there. You were really on a roll. Brandy Broyles, trust your clarity. Boy, that was really good, Sarah. Whether you're a man or a woman, you make these decisions sometimes and you're like, is that the right thing? And you really got a good message of sticking to your guns.
For sure. Especially you make a decision, then things go south for a minute with that decision and you question yourself. So that was a big thing that Cheryl Strayed talked about. She's the one that she wrote the book Wild, and then Reese Witherspoon did the movie about it called Wild.
Tyler Petronelli, I love the whole lifestyle photos. We've talked about that before in the past. You want to see the experience, and so many people can improve on that. I have to mention Ashley Ching. She agreed with me, but you berated her until she agreed with you.
She did not even come close to agreeing with you.
Okay. Have it your way. No spices.
Spices. I want everyone to know, because I'm sure they're listening to their own talks on here. It was hard sometimes to get people to speak on this. And I had to put them on the spot. And most people were like, no, I don't want to do it. And then once they did it, you could see this confidence build. It's with men and women. So don't be afraid to speak up. Share what you learned. That's what we're doing. Do it afraid. It's time for our pullover partner, ICND. And today we're going to do the ad straight here from the DARM conference, which kicked off today. And I have Vanessa Humes from ICND, Intercoastal Net Designs. Vanessa, what is your key takeaway or takeaways that's going to make people pull over?
3 pullover moments for me. One was Amber Hurdle when she said, different is better than better. That really stuck out to me. One, because I'm always looking to be more authentic and sincere with my own personal brand, but also our shticks that we come up with ICND, dressing Brandon up as Elvis or Ricky Brandon and looking to stand out, because that's what it's all about. Different is better than better. 2, Cheryl Strayed, when she talked about overcoming fear and how do you overcome fear, and that's by cultivating courage. How do you cultivate courage? Well, you continuously tell yourself you're not afraid. So you got to channel your inner Home Alone guy and say, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid. Number 3 is Wonder Hell with Laura Gassner-Otting. She was awesome, and I was really blown out of the water when she talked about how you're going through your old self to your new self and the success. And with that, you've got to pass through imposterville, doubtsville, and burnout. But when you're feeling those things, as tough as they may be, it's really a blessing because that means you're about to level up. And so it's something to really be excited about. So those were my takeaways, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season and a prosperous new year, and we'll talk with you soon. Peace out from IC&D.
Okay, I'm in the hallway. Still don't have Tim with me here at DARM, but Tim's out discovering the world. I found Michelle Williams, who many of you know. You've been on the Verma board for a long time, from Atlantic Vacation Homes up in Massachusetts on the coast.
Exactly.
So, Michelle, it's early on the DARM conference, but you already have some takeaways. What are they?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit newer to the revenue management piece specifically. So I'm like a sponge and absorbing everything. So there's been some great information for people that are just starting out. But one of the hot tips that I thought was really helpful was actually just looking at a single reservation and sort of deconstructing that and looking at all the pieces. Where was it within the booking window? What was the rate compared to the average, et cetera? So just really kind of looking at, one or two to just get your feet wet and get used to looking at all of that data. I thought that was really helpful.
That
That's my hot tip
is.
of the
I've
day.
never even heard that explained that way.
Yeah.
That you could start to understand the concepts by looking at a very
one
specific example.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go do that.
Okay, thanks, Michelle.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm over here at the red carpet with Cindy David of Tahoe Rental Company. Have you gotten snow yet?
Yes, we have today and tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches.
Did the bookings start rolling in?
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay, so much you have in that notebook in front of you. But what's one thing that just comes to your head that you heard being discussed a lot during these conferences?
A lot of discussion about selling companies, so you're selling your business, which, at some point we will all be looking at that option or opportunity. And, there's different ways to do it. You can sell through a large company, or you can look at selling to your employees. And I don't think a lot of discussion has been brought on about selling to your employees, but I for sure am going to entertain something like that when I get to that point in my career or as my exit strategy.
What an incredible concept. And I heard that from a few people over the past couple months, that they're selling maybe a slow buyout to their employees who they love so much and who understand the culture of their company. I love that one.
That's great.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
It's me again. Couple of things there. IC&D. We love them. Vanessa was great on the spot. But my friend Michelle Williams, there really is something about this whole smoke and mirrors of yield management and changing rates or whatever. When you make it real, like this person in this house at this time did this, and this is what happened. I thought that was a really good observation, which you pointed out, Sarah.
Indeed. I never did that.
And then Cindy David about the potential of selling your company to your own employees. Wow. Talk about buy-in for staff, huh?
Yeah, I was talking to another guy who did this, and I think it's a great option for someone that's not in a hurry to get out immediately and walk away. But it's like almost a plan you can have if you know you're going to sell in 6 or 7 years, go ahead and get on with it, because it'll take a while for your employees to buy you out. But that's one way to be sure it doesn't go to the wrong hands and to empower all those people that you worked with.
Reminds me of the days of real estate back when interest rates were above 10%. Believe it or not, I've lived that long. I remember when interest rates were 18%. And the big thing for those who own property was to sell it owner financed. So you get a long-term monthly payout. If it doesn't work out, hey, I'm taking the house back.
Yeah.
So I think of there.
I'm sure that'd be a really pleasant thing if you're selling your vacation rental company to 10 employees, and then after 6 years, you take it back. That'll go well.
Yeah. No, thanks. You missed a payment.
Right. You're out.
Okay. We've got more.
Who do we have here?
I'm Nikki Jardine, and I work for Winter Park Lodging Company.
Oh, you do? That's a great company.
I know.
What's your takeaway so far with the
I was in No Guts, No Glory, and affirmation that we are doing the right things that they mentioned. I'm like, yeah, we do that.
Like, what's one example that you do?
So the communication of in that time span between booking and guests actually arriving, that we don't just forget about them. We send them things, our digital newsletter as well, with all the things that they can do whilst they're in town. So things like that we're doing the right things, but also some other bits and pieces that we can certainly add into our repertoire. So, for example, after they part, oh no, it wasn't. It was the day of, maybe just phoning them and saying, hey, did you arrive safely? Is everything good? And being proactive so that we don't hear about it maybe 2 days later and they've already got a bit of an experience already.
All right. We got Valerie Gangas. Valerie, what's one thing you're going to take back?
I really like being with this many women in a conference setting.
Why?
Because they're strong and they're smart and they're cool and there's no drama.
Do you think men are creating the drama?
Men have other challenges that we're not going to get into today.
Thanks, Val.
Creating drama? What do you mean there, young lady?
I didn't say it.
I thought you did. Okay, great. We love Valerie Gangas, and some other great points there by Nikki as well.
You know, Tim, there was this aura at the women's conference. You couldn't deny it. I did a vacation rental managers roundtable like they do at Verma a lot, that Sharon and Milo and others have put on before. I did one during the women's conference, and then I did one at DARM. And it was a very different vibe without any difference in the way I conducted it. So the one with the women's was like, they asked all sorts of questions like, how do I stand up for myself and get paid more? Or I can't explain. It was like really touchy feely stuff, but great questions and great things to discuss. And the DARM one, it was very analytical and factual. How do I do this? How do I do that? Blah, blah, blah. So it's great that women and men are at conferences usually together, but it was a thrill for us women to all be kind of by ourselves for a couple of days.
Okay, my 2-bit analysis from actually another country, which we'll get into later, was that the women's conference, it seems like everybody's there to sort of build up each other. And that a girl, you can do this. Whereas when you involve the men, there's always a competition.
Yeah.
I want this so I can kick that guy's butt.
Yeah. Or they cut straight to the chase and ask this question that you're like, wait, I'm just getting to know you. That's such a good point. It was very, very much building up each other, being kind, not being overly competitive or saying, well, I do it this way. It was vulnerable. Everyone was incredibly vulnerable. Like at my session about math, I don't know. It was like everyone was just smiling at me. Even presenting to this crew was encouraging versus sometimes I look into the sea of people and think, oh my God, they hate me.
And they weren't smiling because you had a stain on your shirt, right?
I know.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, we have one more little snippet here. Great takeaways from one of my new favorite people.
Okay, we're still in here in the aftermath of Sue Jones' amazing session. And we have with us Rebecca Cribben. She's here all the way from Aussie, oi, oi, oi. And she's from Holiday Rental Specialists and Holiday Rental Experts. She listens to the podcast.
She sure does, all the way from Australia.
Yeah, which is Tim. We've been wondering who it was. And this is it, because we see you in the stats.
Yes.
What is your key takeaway from the conference?
Okay, so my key takeaway is I need to get my numbers together and really know and understand where the business is at. Because if I do eventually want to exit, and at the moment I don't, then I need to make sure that I can easily explain how fabulous my business is to any potential purchaser. So my key takeaway is get the numbers right, understand them, know them, and make it easy for someone else to analyze how valuable my business is.
Awesome. Okay, one more question on that. Just dig a little deeper.
Go ahead.
What's a specific number that you're especially stressed out that you don't know yet? Like, what's a number you're going to be like, I need to at least know blank?
Off my cuff, I think I need to at least know more about the expense lines and where our business is actually spending money that it maybe doesn't need to. But also, this is a fun one, I need to know how much money Rebecca spends so I can add it back. It's not separated out in my and I travel all over the world, handing out koalas and Tim Tams to tell everybody welcome to Australia and get a little bit of understanding about how we live. But those lines are just all mixed into my P&L and into my expenses, taking my team members away to fabulous conferences like this. But actually, your average property manager in Australia wouldn't be doing that. So I need to know what they are.
That's called your add backs.
That's right.
You would add that back to your revenue.
And we can only add them back if you actually analyse them as time goes on, right? Otherwise, you've got to go back through every single line.
Yeah.
And that's just almost impossible. If someone comes along and offers the big bucks, you want to know where you're at so you can tell them how much they need to pay. Yeah, I'm going to run with that. Exactly.
Okay.
So thank you for that.
Well, thanks for the
Sarah.
koala bear.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay.
Enjoy your koala bear and have another Tim Tam.
All right.
Bye. Yes.
What is a Tim Tam?
I discovered it on the plane because I remembered she gave it to me, and it was a delicious chocolate bar with maybe caramel in it.
She was great. So that's what we've got. But there is one more thing I want to make sure the listeners are aware of. My co-host was awarded the Crusader Award at the conference. Were you surprised?
Here it is.
So, and I sent greetings from the Vatican City and the Pope. We congratulated you. And you had a number of other people there as well, including Al Verlone.
I was totally shocked. They did the 3 Pioneer Awards, which we'll have to post a picture of those 3 ladies. And then Amy said, oh, there's one more award. I want to give away the Crusader Award that she got 2 years ago at the women's conference. And all of a sudden she said Sarah Bradford. And I was like, I actually had a thought, oh, she wants me to come give this award to somebody. I honestly thought that. And then everyone's like, where is she? And so then I started walking up. And as I was walking up to get it, Al Verlone, my general manager, I've talked about many times in the podcast, comes from behind the stage. He wasn't supposed to be in Nashville. Comes from behind the stage and walks out with the award and says, congratulations, Sarah. And I just almost passed out. Can't explain it. We're really close. And it was like the icing on the cake from selling the business and the conferences and seeing him there. And then all of a sudden they started this video of all these people talking to me. It was super special. I was really jazzed, honored, shocked. And it's wonderful sometimes I've never gotten an award before that I can remember. And it's just really nice to hear that what you've done in your life meant something, that somebody noticed. So thanks, Amy. That was really cool. And thanks to Corinne and Rebecca Chapman. They're the ones that put that video together, which is, if you've ever done that for someone, it takes a lot of effort. So John DeJulius was on there. We had Tim Rosolio from Verbo showed up, and lots of women and men from my time in vacation rentals. Oh, and my kids and my husband.
We all knew. And
then you have to catch up. Your brain has to catch up with everybody else around you, and it's very confusing.
At one point, you had said something about, I'm not sure I'm going to go. And let me tell you, the alarm bells went off from the East Coast to the West.
I had a really bad travel experience, nothing to do with this. And I thought, I am not leaving the house again. I am not leaving Steamboat. I even told Amy High Note that. God love her. And then I did. Now in retrospect, I remember a lot of people being like, wait, why wouldn't you go? And then there was a really bad snowstorm, so we weren't even going to be able to get out. And I said to my husband, I shouldn't even go, should I? He goes, no, you shouldn't. And he knew that would probably make me go. So I got there. Really
there was
great.
A lot of very quiet texts going around when you put that out. Like, red alert, red alert.
Oh my gosh. Someone else would have been the Crusader.
Oh, I don't think so. But I'm so glad.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for your contribution, and everybody else that believes in me and recognized me. I appreciate it. I'll never forget it.
And you continue to make great contributions to the industry, and you make a difference. So congratulations.
You too, Tim.
All
and
right.
Speaking of that, for our contributions of 2023, on the next podcast in 2024, we're going to reveal the top 3 podcasts most listened to in 2023. So you guys can go back and listen to those if you haven't listened to every single one. And we're going to have a special guest on the next podcast. Who is it, Tim?
Max Farley of Sojo fame. He's a great guy, and he has a great message, and we're going to talk to him about it when we get back to you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about logistics. How often do we talk about the word logistics in our industry? So, not to scare you, it's going to be riveting. Show up in January, right before or after my birthday. That's the episode it'll be. And I wish you such a happy new year. Merry Christmas today, Tim. I can't wait for another year of doing the podcast with you.
Okay. Well, you won't have to wait long because we'll be back soon. So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.
What up, Dodge? It's the Snoop D-O-double-G, and I just peeped the Vacation Rental Managers podcast with Sarah and T, hosted by Timmy C of Outer Banks and Sandwich Blue, and Sarah B. She owns rental companies in Colorado, and now gives the 411 to other vacation rental companies to thrive and grow. Today's episode was brought to you by Intercoastal Net Designs. ICND is an award-winning web development and digital marketing agency that specializes in helping vacation rental companies get more direct bookings. ICND.net is their website. Special thanks to ICND for hosting Sarah and T's website. Reach to the hosts on Facebook, LinkedIn, or on their website, sarahand.t.com. Snoop says lay down a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. Even better, if you're down with this episode, share it with a friend. Sarah and T will be back soon with a new episode of the DRMP. And that's what's up.